of Melanated Mommy Podcast. We're so excited to be doing episode 2. This week our panel has increased. We have Rai down here, Alicia's baby, and we have our fourth mommy, Fadika, who we are glad is back with us. She was under the weather last week, so we have our full panel. Do you want to let them know a little bit about your mommyhood?
I have a 14-year-old son. It has been 14 long years.
Which I think we can all attest to.
Yes.
This week, in light of Women's History Month, we'll be discussing basically the importance of mental health and self-care as Black women, as mothers, as ethnic women, women in general. We give so much throughout our days and throughout our weeks, our months, our years to everyone else. And it's very important to make sure that we take the time out for ourselves, because we can only support others as much as we can by making sure that we put ourselves first. And I think this year is definitely not even really, a New Year's resolution type thing, but one thing that I definitely said coming into 2023 was that I was going to ensure to make sure to put myself first at least once a week. Because when you get so, covered over in everybody else's problems, tears, issues, it sucks on you. I remember I saw this video the other day on social media where this lady, she was doing a skit. And somebody was like, oh my goodness, I have so much I have to talk to you about. Is now a good time? And she was like, no. And then she does another one, and it's like, hey, girl, I gotta talk to you this minute. I have this issue. It's not a good time for me to talk about that. We have to make sure that we take that time to devote to ourselves, even if it's just sitting in a quiet corner, and kind of just listening to our own thoughts. I really think that it's important for us to have that time as individuals. Yes, we're moms, but we're still Raven, Alicia, Fadika, and Jamila, and other moms as well. We cannot lose our identity and our roles in life. So, what do you think for you, Fadika, in terms of self-care? What do you think? What does that mean for you?
So self-care for me is different on different days. I might need an incense. I might need some soft music. I use the app Calm as well. It has meditation. Or I might just need a drive.
Yeah, I do that religiously.
Self-care for me also means doing adult things as well. So I might need self-care from my son with my man.
Yeah.
I might need self-care from my man with my son. I might need self-care from both of them by myself.
Yeah.
So self-care can be reading a book. It's whatever makes you feel good at that time. Whatever brings you joy in that moment. Whatever's going to make you feel good so you can go on to the next day. So you can be everything for everybody at all times. That's what self-care is to me.
For you, Jamila, in terms of mental health, how do you feel that plays on your role as a mother? Are there ever times where oh my goodness, today is that day? I feel like we all have that day where oh, I just can't today. And what's your way back from that? What do you do?
For me, I love candles. I like to light candles. I like bubble baths. I'm just really able to now tune back into it. Since my son, he's about to be 2, May 31st. So I'm finally able to get the balance again, because it has always just been me, So now it's me and him. So I'm able to find that self-care and that mental. It's hard, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely hard. Different days is different. She said, it's all different. But I think I don't know. It's just, for me, it's mostly just trying to get in a state of just a peace of mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, in a headspace. Oh my gosh. That would change so much. Yeah. That would change so much. Earlier when I was, I think it was yesterday actually, I read this article about how postpartum depression can play on your role as a mom. It can play a role on you as a woman. Alicia, do you have any experience with that? Or like, what's your word on that? Give us your vibe, your energy on that.
So, in my defense, postpartum is something that nobody likes talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
no, 100%.
when you think about having a baby, it's like, oh yeah, you have this, you have this, but
this
you
about
forgot to
your
tell me
enjoy.
this part
Right,
here.
you forget the emotions, yeah. And I think a lot of that too is because it's hard for women, especially black women. Now, there's a statistic that says that black women experience postpartum depression at a 30% increase versus white women. There's also a decrease in care for it. So black women have 20% less support and outlet really to discuss or get that help. That's both
downplayed.
Exactly. And that's both in medical support and also personal, having your village. So it's crazy because, and I think that Fadika, I think you said it, how we basically like we're everything for everyone. You know, it's not slave times, but we give so much, and so much is expected from us for others, that when we have those moments where we need support, it's not there.
Right.
You know, so I know that you just had right. What in terms of like your experience transitioning over with becoming a mommy, like what's your experience with that?
So, my experience was not like typical people's experience. I came with COVID experience. So, because COVID came in the picture, it was like when I first had him, I had support, but they couldn't come because it was like, oh, well, we only can have certain many people at the hospital. Not only is it certain many people at the hospital, when I come home, you know, they possibly have COVID. So it's like, can't come by, face mask required, all type of stuff. So it was kind of hard at first. But then as time progressed and COVID kind of locked and lifted away, that support's still not really there. I have support from, you know, my husband's mother. She watches my son while I'm at work. So Monday through Friday and any other time that I need her to watch him.
That's good.
You know, that support from my own family is what I'm lacking right now. It's like, dang, I understand I had this baby. I understand it's my baby, but wouldn't you want to be around him? Wouldn't you want to be... So, like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to be the one to sit here and take him to come see you. I'm not going to be the one to sit here and have you, you know, text you, hey, you know, he still is here.
He's alive. And that's the thing, when they don't know who you is, don't have to. Don't be mad.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it is gotten to the point where, you know, I don't do it. I literally, my house is my peace. So I'm here. I'd rather be here, and if you want to see him, he's here. Like, my baby's always with me. But that support is lacking. I mean, but hey, I'm not going to be the one that tell them to fix their shit. They should want to do that for their grandkids, their, you know, nephews, or whatever the case may be. It needs to be, you know, you want to do it, not me
telling you, And that lack of support really does play on if you are experiencing postpartum, if you are experiencing depression. I know last week I mentioned I experienced depression early growing up from a lot of things that I encountered. So with my oldest two, I didn't experience postpartum, but with my third born, I went through it, and it rocked me to my core. And I think a lot of that is because, you know, we stand and we bask in the strength of what we know we are as women, as black women. We know that if a tornado comes, I can build this shelter, and I'm saving everyone in here. But to feel that battle within yourself, and it's no one that you're rescuing yourself from but you. And to have to day in and day out, not only fight in that battle, but to also raise your children. Remember to feed them, dress them, smile for them, guide them, while inside you are your own enemy, is one of the hardest battles that a person can go through. And I would never wish that on my worst enemy. Because in your head and on exterior, there's been times where, like, I'll be talking to Jamila, we'll be on the phone, or we'll be together, and she's like, you know, you're doing amazing. You have even that, you know, through our, you know, relationship and stuff. And she's like, you're doing amazing. And I'll be like, girl, no, I'm not. Don't I? I'm like, who? I said, girl, you must don't know. The other day I went off about something that wasn't even that serious. And she was like, but you're trying. You know, it's the fact that you're acknowledging and you're aware of, and that really does play on you because you're like, I feel like I'm doing so much. I feel like I'm doing great. But inside, that depression and that cloud is like, no, you're not. No, you're not. They deserve better, you know. They deserve better. You're not doing this. Do you remember when you said da 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 da? Imagine how, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you know, and it really does pain you. I could be sitting there, and then all of a sudden this cloud comes over, and you're literally at a battle to rise yourself out of there while being present. If there was ever an outer body experience, it would be that. You know.
I agree.
And I think also rubs on them too.
It does. It really does. My daughter, she's so in touch with emotions. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. She's like, you seem sad. No, I'm happy. You know? And it's not even like trying to be sad in their presence. It's that it's so strong. And when she does that, I have to check myself out of it. But at sometimes, you know, it kind of makes it harder because you might put it on pause mentally, but by the time you're sitting back down and it now consumes you again, it has increased. Right. You know? And people don't like to speak on that because it's like, yeah, what you sad for? You had a baby. You know that babies are hard. You know, you're a mom. You put yourself in that situation when you laid down or whatever. And that's true.
You knew what you was doing.
Right. Exactly. You know what you was getting into. And I hate that. And I think I said that last week. I hate that sentence so much. When I have ever asked for support, for me what that looks like, and it may not always be, oh, babysit my kid. I need you mentally to help me strengthen myself. Right. You know, I have a friend of mine, and I still call her my friend. She's one of my closest friends. But we had a argument because I remember one time I had said, girl, I haven't talked to you in forever. Like, I call you, you don't pick up. Oh, I don't pick up because I think you're going to ask me to watch your kid. Ooh. You know? And I was like, wow. But okay, let's break this down. Do I hit the streets? No, you don't. So when have I ever asked you when you go to work? So what you're telling me is that you're not in my time of need to be able to take care of my children. Right. You're not able, or you're not wanting to assist, which is fine because you don't have kids and you do your due diligence. But on those times where I've had cars repo, roofs not over my head, and food to feed my children, and then how dare people, you know, point the finger. Because I'm not saying, oh, babysit my kids so I can go stroking, twerking, whatever. Right. I need you to assist me for right now in this time being so that I'm able to go to work and care for my children. Right. My little baby, the one, oh, that's your baby. Oh, that's TT baby. That's cousin Yaya baby. That's cousin such and such.
I'm trying to take care of that.
Let me not say cousin Yaya because we actually have a Yaya and she does great. So this is not your Yaya. That was a random name I threw out. But it's literally, these are not your babies. Yeah. Because when your baby needed food to eat, and then now I have to text, Jamila, can I borrow $20 so I can feed my kids? Fadika, can I borrow da-da-da-da-da so I can pay this? Alicia, can I da-da-da-da-da? I'm so sorry. Yeah. You know? It's not fair because it's like, oh, why you didn't tell me? I remember Malachi was graduating from, his little kindergarten graduations, and my cousin's like, why you didn't tell me about it? Oh, because when I needed to go to work last week to be able to pay for his graduation fees, you didn't want to do it. You're like, no, I just want to sit at home. I really don't want any company, which is your prerogative, and I'm not saying that, but those other times where you're like, oh, I actually have work, and then I see you, taking pictures on social media, and you're like, caption, now I want to watch your kids. Ooh. Remember that. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Don't send subliminal messages. Yeah.
No, I don't want to watch your kids.
No, I don't want to watch your kids.
That wasn't subliminal.
That was passive. But you don't want to tie the name, and then I'm like, oh, was that about me? Oh no, my friend. It was right. So that is why you didn't get an invite to his graduation. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that's why I say, I think it's so crazy how the phrase "blood is thicker than water," we can just retire that. Because we can retire that because blood may be thicker than water, but water runs longer. it refreshes,
gives
it actually gives life,
Right.
it produces more blood.
Right.
So my circle has
They
really
got to want some.
right, exactly.
Big facts.
My circle has definitely transitioned. My blood has been my water. There's been times where she has been the only person that I've had, you know. How many times we're like, girl, I did that. We trade our favorites in the week, girl. You yes, I got you. And it's never. Oh, you remember when da 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 da. You know, and I think that's too when people gotta realize you play on the mother's mentality when that happens, because if I'm reaching out, it's definitely needed.
Yeah, it's dire.
It's dire.
Seriously.
It's dire.
And we got too much pride.
Yes, I would definitely
Like,
agree to that.
Seriously.
Like,
Literally.
when I say here bar or something, it's like,
Yeah. And that's been a lot of times where I'm
So
like, I'm not
hard.
even going to, but then I'm like, okay, but how's that going to affect the kids?
Right.
You know?
And that, oh yes. Whew,
And that's the main
That's the
thing
big
people
thing.
don't
for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh.
we literally are trying to, like, for one, when it comes to women, we are already nurturers.
Right.
So we already have that pride. Like, these are our kids. We gonna do whatever
Ever
for
for
our
them.
kids.
Yeah.
So when we get to the point where we're like, okay,
Right.
I don't give a shit.
Right.
I gotta go to work.
Right,
Like,
right.
damn, I gotta ask this person. And
Yeah.
then when you ask the person, it's like,
And it's the whole thing.
oh,
Well, why you did
you should have managed your money better.
Yeah.
Like, do you know? And it's crazy too, because I think like nowadays I would definitely say like family surroundings are different from when we were growing up, because it was like, you know, you watch your parents make things happen, and you know that it was off the backs of support.
Yeah.
But now that original old school support is
it's
gone,
gone. That's
this
what I say.
new.
Yeah, this ain't it. Cause
This ain't it.
my thing is now you just have. For me, I have certain people that I will even ask. Anyway.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
too.
going out my way asking certain people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and because I just feel like I have built that now, that support where it's it's been manifesting. It's been
Right.
coming, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? The foundation to make things grow, and I feel like when you have that, you're able to grow because y'all can build each
You
other.
are. You
You
really
know what I'm
are.
saying?
That is so true. I knew this guy, whatever, he was a friend of mine, an old friend of mine. I haven't actually talked to him in years. And I remember this is when I just had Malachi, and whatever, you know, it is, I had my car repoed and going through hard times, didn't have the money for it or whatever. And he gave me the money to get my car back. And I said, I don't know how I'm, going to pay you back, whatever the case may be. And I will never forget, he said, if you feel like you need to for you, then do it. But I'm not really helping you if I hold you to paying this back, And there's some give and take on that, because my thing is, like, if I assist somebody, I have adopted that within guidelines. Because, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, Mila, I gave you $40, girl, I need that back on the 16th at 2:30 p.m. You know why? Because I know that when she asks me, it's because she definitely doesn't have it, And she needs it. And I know that she's not doing it, she's not using it for something selfish. Now, if you are asking me for money because you don't have enough money to get these shoes, I may still loan it to you.
Right.
But you
I'm
have,
gonna have something to say.
but you got a deadline on that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna have something to say.
And it's not even just for friends that have children. If it's like, oh, girl, I don't have this money for my bill, here you go.
Right.
Whenever you can, you can. If you can't, just let me know.
Right.
But if you buying this for a dress to go out,
But I
Baby,
think the older
stop.
you get, you don't really have those type of people in your circle.
Yeah,
that's
true.
For money for stuff like that.
yeah, for a little,
For
just,
stuff like that. You
Just
know what I'm
money
saying?
stuff,
Because that's
yeah.
that little kitty shit. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot be asking for no money.
Because we're going to the club.
Clearly,
I'm still going.
So you want me to pay for you?
Right, to go.
I ain't going. Why you going?
He got water on it.
So for me, I'm a different age group than you guys.
Right.
So I have had support. I lost my mother. So my mother's brothers and sisters have always supported me.
That's amazing.
I have never had a time where I could not go to work unless I. Oh, okay, I got you.
Right there.
There has never been a time that I have not had help unless I wanted to stay home with my son.
Right.
You know, if he was sick and I felt like, hey, I need to have this bonding time with my son. They have always been there. My son now is 14, so he doesn't like to have help with anything. He thinks he knows everything. He's got this, right? He's ready for life.
Right.
But I do let him know that you always need support.
Yeah.
Whether it's from friends, family, whomever you feel comfortable enough giving you support. Because you can't go to everybody for support.
Yeah.
I have a good family on both sides, my dad's side and my mom's side. But again, I've been doing this for 14 years now with their help, because a lot of times I would not have been able to go to work.
Right.
Or I would not have been able to go out and hang out with my friends had I not had the support from my family members. So I understand you saying that you need people in your life like
You
that.
do.
Oh wait, I got a question. You gonna have another baby?
Girl, no.
It's
My nigga
always-
said sleeping over there.
It's not in the plans. No, it's not closed, but it's not in the
And
plans.
so you get married, your husband want a baby, you down, right?
I don't think I'm
I don't think
physically
she-
able to have a child. I have not had a child in 14 years.
Yeah, I know.
I
heard
serve
you,
it.
but God,
If you give me about 50 G's, I'll serve you for
God be
you.
doing some things.
I hope he don't do no thing over here. My boyfriend does not have any kids.
Oh, that's why
So-
I was on one.
Well,
Yeah, and you gonna have to.
She said he gonna have to just make one. He gonna make a little puppy.
we're gonna get some puppies.
Not wrong with that.
A little doggy
A
dog.
cat. Maybe a pet monkey.
Oh, okay.
But not a child.
Cause monkeys you can give them the bottle.
Yeah, you got a
diaper
diaper on. He good. So that's as far as I'm going. I could only be a mother for one child.
I hear you.
I don't know how I say this all the time. You multiple mothers. I do not know how you have enough love, have enough caring, have enough, well, this one is not doing so well, so I need to take a little bit more time.
I'm a different person.
I can speak on
I
that. Yeah.
was an only child, so I don't know how to parent multiple children.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how to do that. I don't even know what that looks like.
I think for me now, I remember Malachi. He wasn't like 100% planned, but I wasn't doing things to prevent him as well. Phoenix was definitely a surprise. She went through that whole thing with me. And I remember when I found out I was having a little girl, and I was so nervous. And I told her, I said, Mila, I don't know what to do with a girl. I said, I'm scared to have a little girl because of my relationship with my mom. I said, you know, my mom, like I said before, like she is my superhero. You know, she carried so much on her back, but with us personally, we don't have the best relationship. And I thought, man, that's gotta be hereditary. Like, and I never wanted to implement those emotions onto my daughter, any of my children at this point. But when she came like a phoenix, and I needed her. And that's why her name fits her so well.
Definitely.
Because, so Phoenix means to rise when oppressed.
Yes.
To continue to rise even when hard times consume it. She is so smart, so fun. Let me tell you something. Kevin Hart has nothing on my daughter. Okay? When I tell you this little girl, she can piece together stuff so clear, and there's to this day, she'll be sitting with me, next to me or whatever. I might be scrolling on my phone and she's laying back with me, and I look over and she'll catch me looking at her. She's like, what? And I was like, dang, I can't look at you. She was like, I'm beautiful, huh? I said, you sure are.
That's awesome.
I said, you are. I said, and I remember she said, Mommy, I want to be just like you when I grow up. I said, I want you to be better. And that's you know, that's cliche, you know, whatever, but it is so true.
Yeah.
Because all of my children, like, they're just amazing. And when I sit back and I think about all the wrong I've done in my life, and all the issues, all the bad decisions, the poor decisions, I always say, if I could omit those from my life, have the same children at a different point in my life with one person, I would. But if I couldn't, then let it ride. Like, I think for me, and I can't speak for all mothers who have more than one child, but there was so much of a void for me internally. emotionally growing up that I needed my children. I needed them to feel that, because no matter how much we grow and we get older and we handle our struggles, I know for a fact that that would have been something that would have held me back for years.
Right.
Because there's even times now where my son, my oldest son Malachi, he'll come over and he'll just hug me out of the blue when I need it.
Yeah, that's your first son.
Yes, he's watched everything, and it's amazing because like he was great. He was great. Like, and people always look at me weird when I say he made the hard times easier. Like he's a child. No,
Right.
a kid can make
Definitely.
a situation difficult, but he was there. He was trekking along with me. But I always feel bad, and I think that's another thing that plays on me emotionally. Is because he had to go through things with me that my other children have not.
But that's what I say about that first child.
Yeah.
Now.
But does it make it okay?
It
Because
doesn't
my
make it okay, but we still learning too. Because I feel like I do one another.
Yeah,
child,
for sure.
With my husband, I want to have one more baby. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Demetrius is my growing.
Yeah.
He helping me grow. He's
Yeah.
teaching me things because it's been about me. So
Yeah.
now I'm learning how it
is
to
with
not just
somebody.
make it
Yeah.
about me.
He went through, and he had to sit there and watch me go
Yeah.
through it. My third born, my baby, they'll never be able to speak to that, and I'm grateful for that. But there'll be times
It's a
where
lot of things he won't remember though.
you would think that.
Yeah.
But
I
let me
mean,
tell
he
you
was
something.
understand.
There was literally, I think it was last month, my son recalled a time where we had lived with a relative of mine, and we had an argument. We had an argument about something. He was 1.5. And he was like, "Mommy, you remember when we lived with such and such, and they put us out?" And I was like,
1.5.
"Yeah." Around the time when I first moved to Tennessee, he was about 1.5, because this was before I met you, and then I moved back to Georgia, had Phoenix when he was around 3.
Yeah.
So actually, you know what, that time frame might be wrong. You might be right. So he might have been 3.
Okay.
He was probably 3, because this would have happened the second time.
Okay.
But he's and he'll be like, "Oh, you know what? Why don't we, talk to such and such anymore?" And I'm like, "Well, let me break it down for you." And there's a lot of people that like do not like when I do that. But my thing is, I want my children to be able to understand why I have placed boundaries in their life towards people.
Way.
Yes.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
No
And
manual
that's
to this.
literally, and I think that's why people have like, in terms of me, and I don't know if you guys can speak on it, like a sibling of mine or whatever, a few years back, she had watched my kids for me or whatever, and I was like, "Hey, please don't yada yada yada, whatever. You can't tell me what to do. Those are my children you got with you. I sure as heck can."
Right.
Well, if that's a problem, then I won't watch them. Well, then let it be so. Because my thing is, you can't tell a parent what you will and will not do with their children around you. No, like, everybody is different. I do not like smoking around my children. I prefer you to watch your mouth around my children. Whatever be, especially around Phoenix, because that girl, she will blurt out everything you say. Oh, really? And I think, like, people got to understand that, because that plays into support as well. You can't make me feel bad because I'm trying to set what I feel for my children is a good example. You know what I mean? Because that looks different for everyone.
It does, and that's what I'm saying. That
It
just
does.
comes about not judging somebody for how they choose.
No, for sure. For sure. Because all my friends, let's say the 30, all of you live your life different. For me, I live my life
I'm
different.
definitely
from
not the mother you are. I am not. I am the on the fly mom.
Yes.
What happens today is gonna be something different tomorrow.
Yeah.
I smoke. I drink.
And then
I'm supposed to stop, but I can't.
I smoke.
I'm supposed to stop, but I can't. Not gonna get the last part.
Right.
No, honey, I'm getting
I don't know. I think I'm the mom that just. You were still talking.
Go ahead. You good. You good.
I was like you about to say something.
I was.
Okay, no, go ahead.
So now that my son is of age where he knows a lot of things and
Yeah.
cannot hide anything,
Yeah.
I do a lot of apologizing to my son.
I believe in that strongly.
I do apologize for the situations I put us both in.
Yeah.
I apologize for the way I have made him feel.
This account.
I apologize for the way that men I have chosen have made him feel.
Right.
I apologize for not having enough money. I apologize for anything that I might feel will hinder him becoming a productive black male in society.
Yeah.
You have to give them things to grow.
100%.
I like that.
And that comes in waves. That comes every day. There are life lessons. There are things to be learned. You cannot have a child in this society, for me, and hide them from the world.
Yeah.
So I don't hide the person I am from my son. We have been through a lot together. He has seen me at my bottom when nobody else has seen me. He has seen me without clothes on.
Yeah.
He has seen me with my face on. He has not seen me with my face on.
Yeah.
He has seen me at my lowest. So now that he's 14, there are lessons that he needs to learn to become a black man. That you have to be sensitive, not just to women, just to people, period.
Yeah.
People that might not look like you. People that might not think like you. People that don't have what you have. People who have more than what you have. You have to be sympathetic in this world today because there's a lot going on. And you also have to decipher who is for you and who is not.
Yes. Cheers to that, friend. Cheers to that.
And
Cheers to that.
that might not look like giving money.
Yeah.
That might not look like being a child. So I've been kind of independent. And after my mom died, I separated myself from a lot of people, especially her family members. Even though they were there to help me, emotionally, I felt like I could not go to them because there were things I had to work through in the death of my mother. You know, I wasn't the daughter that I was supposed to be as well. So, in taking accountability, you have to take accountability for all facets of your life.
That's true.
When you do wrong, hey, I did wrong, I'm going to do better tomorrow.
That's true.
Don't just keep perpetuating the cycle. Because then when you have kids, they see you doing wrong. They think that's okay. No, it's not okay the way I acted yesterday.
Right.
It's not okay that I was cussing and mad and angry. Because it didn't even go to that point, you know. So self-care also means apologizing to your children for
Because
the
it'll help
things,
you heal too.
yes, that you have been through and that you have put them through as well.
100%.
You next, or can I say something?
No,
real
you
quick?
stay with
You next.
Like, I had to do it like you did, I had to do it. No, because I mean, self-care. Yes, we're talking about it, but all of us, self-care postpartum, we always just talking about it. I don't know about y'all, but when I had my kid, my body changed completely.
Same.
So self-care to me is like sometimes going to get my nails done, going to get my toes done, doing my hair, my eyebrows, stuff like that.
She do keep them. She keep them.
But I used to be like that. That's the thing for me. Like
Yeah.
my nails was a big
Yes,
thing.
it
for me.
was.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it haven't been like that. I kind of lost my love.
Right. But that's what happens because as we become moms, and I think that it's this horrible stigma that's been passed down through the ages that when you become a mom, that's it.
Your life is over.
Your life is now that child,
No,
and
it's
that's
not.
that. I cannot be my best version of Raven if I am not good.
Right.
There's so many times where I might go shopping and I see stuff from me and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get that. Oh no, that's $20. Let me go get all them something for $200.
Right.
You know, and that's not realistic because I cannot step foot out, you know, and be my best self for them or our family and represent us well if I don't have myself together.
Oh, period. I think it's naturally that we're gonna go out and we see something like, oh, my baby can fit me.
Right.
I think it's just natural.
It is. But it has to be a balance. It has to be a balance. Yeah.
Mine is different. You know, he's 14.
Yeah.
He don't like to wear nothing that I like.
Yeah.
Okay.
He likes a plain t-shirt and some joggers. He does not like jeans. He thinks I'm crazy. He was like, why do people your age love jeans?
Not your age.
Jeans! let him be, you know. I'm past the point y'all are, but I do remember those days when you want your child to look cute for you, not for
They not picking their outfits.
Right, we doing it, yeah. In keeping with Women's History Month and coming off of Black History Month, historically, women are the foundation of everything that we do.
Everything.
Without women, there would be nothing to this earth. We have always been, especially for Black women, we have had to be everything for not only our kids, but historically for other people's children as well. And that's been imprinted in us, you know.
That's who we are.
Yes. So it's hard sometimes to remember, hey, I'm still a woman.
Yeah.
I used to like to read books,
Yes.
you know, I used to like
love
to
reading.
draw,
Yeah,
I
I
used
love
to like
that.
to color, I used to like to go for a walk uninhibited, you know.
Music for me. I love music.
Yeah,
Oh.
she do. That's her niche.
Yeah.
So, you know, as Black women, we have breastfed the whole world, literally. Not only with our bodies, but with the knowledge we were given. You know, we have had to come from nothing a lot of times, you know, especially if you don't have a good mother who has taught you the ins and outs, not just of being a woman, just of navigating life. For me, I didn't realize what my mother had given me until she was gone and I had to use it.
Yeah.
You know, I went through a lot of depression after my mama died. It really, really, really did something to me. A lot of people never knew, you know what I'm saying, because I kept it to myself. Because it wasn't their struggle to go through.
Right.
That was between me and what I thought that I was lacking or what I didn't do as a daughter, you know. Because at the time I was in a bad relationship. And I was really mostly focused on him and not focused on anything else outside of him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to come to terms with a lot of things after I lost my mother. That as a daughter, I was not doing right. In order to get taught a lesson, my mother had to be taken. That grew me up
Real fast.
so high and so fast. But I had to get past my depression first.
Right.
So now I'm hard, you know what I'm saying? Not only because of the things I've been through with men, but because of losing my mother when I needed her the most, you know. Death will do something to you as well.
For sure.
Forget about men and outside relationships. When you are close with your mother, it really does something to you when you lose them.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, I'm not gonna say you don't have a good relationship, but I really love my mother, you know, and I took it very hard because I wasn't the daughter I was supposed to be, you know. So self-care looks like a lot of things. It looks like crying. Self-care looks like reading a book. Self-care looks like being by yourself.
Right.
Self-care means looking like going to spend the money that you worked hard for.
That's definitely something.
It may look like getting your nails done, getting your eyebrows threaded, whatever makes you feel good in that moment, whatever makes you whole to get to the next day.
Yeah.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said about the whole mother situation. How you was, you know, you didn't have her when you needed her, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that hurt you. For me, it was more so of, like, I never had her. Like, that's how I feel, you know what I'm saying? Because I was only 2 years old when my mom died. So, for me, it's just always been, like, I never got a chance to see what it was to have, like, that mother figure, you know what I'm saying? So, I've grown to be that mother figure for myself, but I have had, you know, different outlets, you know what I'm saying, of mother figures. They haven't all been the best.
So far.
You know what I'm saying? But granted, you know what I mean, I appreciate it, you know what I mean, because it got me where I'm at now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. I just think the support comes like in different ways for me. Like for me, my son, father, parents is amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they do everything. You know what I mean? Like they're always there. You know, they've been here from day one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, and I appreciate that more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I have my dad. My dad is amazing. Shout out to you, Dad.
Right, shout out to
You know
Dad.
what I'm saying?
He my dad
He have held it down. You hear me? And we done went through what we done went through. And it has made me a better woman. You know what I'm saying? But I still always felt like it's been a void missing from me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who I am. You know what I'm saying? As a person, as a woman, as a black woman. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just wanted to piggyback off what you were saying because I felt it so much. You know what I'm saying? But it was just two different situations.
Yeah.
Your mother makes you who you are.
You know what I'm saying? Like
You are your mother's second coming. I always tell my son, you are the best part of me and the best part of your dad. Comes together in your child.
Because that's how I feel about my son.
Right.
Like, I feel like he got the best part of me and he got the best part of his dad. Because his dad, shout out to you.
Shout out to you, know who you are.
His dad is amazing. That's why I said, like, I feel like as black women, we all have different stories to tell.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to be the same. You
Oh,
know
no.
what I mean? Like,
Right.
Definitely. And I feel like if the support was there, it was there. And if it wasn't, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But we in our truth. This is
Yeah.
our truth. You know what I'm saying? We're able to talk about it. We're able to share it with the world. You know what I'm saying?
It's
So,
a safe space.
it's a
It
safe
is a
space. Yes.
So to piggyback off of really, you know, what you were saying in terms of losing your mom around 2, in adulthood now, are there ever days when does it?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Cause it's a void.
Yeah.
You know, so
Do you feel like that affects how you parent in terms of whether it may be how you handle situations, or do you? I guess the question would be, do you feel that if your mom, which we wish she was still here to this day, do you feel like that presence would have altered or changed how you parent?
girl, I feel like if my mom was here, everything would be different.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. It's just that feeling like if she was here, like everything would be different.
Yeah.
Nothing would be the same because it's just like all the stories that I heard from. Cause it's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of stories, and they always been good, strong, powerful stories.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I don't know. I feel like it would definitely be different. I feel like with my parenting, I feel like I'm doing the best that I can.
You're amazing.
Yeah. I feel like I'm doing the best that I can, but I do feel like it's stuff that I need help with.
Yeah.
I need to work.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's gonna come with time.
Yeah.
And being patient.
Yeah. It comes with like more experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And years,
And that's my biggest thing, just like knowing that it's not a manual for this parenting
Right.
shit. Like,
yeah.
you really going day by day, just
Winging
doing
it.
minute by minute.
Winging it.
Like
Yeah.
literally, really winging it, not
Yeah.
knowing what the fuck tomorrow's going
Yeah.
on. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Are
so.
we gonna eat tomorrow?
Right.
Right.
whatever.
No, literally.
Are we going to eat
It's
tomorrow?
been, yeah.
It's been days like that, and I used to be so, and there's still times now where I'm so embarrassed of like those times where I'm like, we boiling water and think we gonna be thinking this fried chicken today, you know, because you don't have that support, and support is such a huge factor, you know, and that's why I love our group, because like we have said over a million times, like we all have different experiences. You all unfortunately don't have your mothers, you know. Alicia and I do, but we also share the similarities.
Yes, y'all do.
In terms of
Definitely.
the relationship,
Yeah.
you know, that void.
Definitely.
I would lose my mind today, God forbid, if my mom passed away.
I agree.
And a lot of that, I will honestly say, would come from what I wish was. And I won't speak for me and you, but from what I wish was. You know, you lost your mom before you could really know her as a person. I know that she adored you. You lost your mom after having that time with her.
For a year.
For
I was
years.
grown.
Yeah.
I was 27 when I lost my mom.
Right.
but it hurt me as if I was at
2 years old. Exactly.
It literally obliterated me.
Yeah, but and my thing is now, of course, I'm not going to say it was like all rain and all thunderstorms within our relationship because it wasn't.
Right.
But there will be certain stories, certain memories I would have to play back to create memories in my head if I lost her. You know, and I, like I said, I would be destroyed because to this day, that's still a relationship that I yearn for. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't matter how many girlfriends I have. It doesn't matter how many kids I have. You know, I need that woman. Right. You know, and I know that a lot of times, and one thing I would definitely say, and you hit it right on the head, and I will own up to I am not perfect. I have sometimes the worst personality ever. You know, but when you said, you know, you own up to like certain parts or certain things you did in your role as a daughter. I own up to that. You know, but I do think that because of decisions I made and mistakes I made and us not fully understanding each other or also kind of being so similar that it caused a rift. And that wrecked it. You know, it wrecked it. And I know like when I was younger, like younger, you know, you're a little kid or whatever, like everything was cool. But I needed that same like relationship when I got older because that's when you hit teenage years, that's when things are coming. You know, that's when I'm losing. You know, I was dealt with inappropriately growing up, you know, from a family friend. And I never recovered from that 100%, you know, and of course we discussed it. She helped me, you know, in that situation. But after that, I literally, my mind was just like, wait a minute, you know, what? And during those periods when I needed to discuss it and talk about it, you know, I really couldn't, you know. And that's just one situation. There's a lot of times where communication was just so hard. You know, I used to start writing letters to her, you know, because I'm like, I don't know how to talk to you, you know, face to face, or if you're fully understanding it. Even with letters, it wasn't. I remember when I first started working, for me, my love language was, oh, let me buy her gifts and she'll see. Like, I'm really trying to be close with you. But it, you know, unfortunately, it didn't result.
Do you think that play a lot of who you are?
It does. My relationship with her, it does. And you know me.
She has this
a shell. She does.
Shell.
She's like in an egg.
Like that, and you really have to understand her to love her. Like you really do. You know what I'm saying? Like she's a hard pill to swallow. Like this is my baby, so I can say that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like everybody, she's one of those people where you either gonna like her or you not.
She's not for everybody.
I'm not for everybody. I'm not. But and I tell people, I may not handle things right, or you may think I'm just like this, the worst person ever. But to this day, I pride myself on my heart. Yeah. You know, because even if it, you know, it's crazy. You know, because I think, and I'm like, man, like when you really sit back and you figure out, like, man, when did life become so much of a war zone for me that I had to become my own general?
Ever since you was a child.
Since I was a kid.
So young.
Yeah, literally. It did. And I can tell you the exact situation that caused me to be like that. And because now, you know, that happened and I'm growing and I'm carrying it, not feeling safe enough to talk about it. And now it's forming a rift with my queen, my mother. You know, because she was the only parent I had. Like, I had a father figure. He wasn't my biological father. He was a man that was present in my life as that figure for me. Amazing. I love him. You could ask me to this day, like, that's my dad. You know, but at the end of the day, my genetics, the person I share my genetics with, I didn't have that man. I had my mom. And I will own up to, like, life wasn't pleasant for her either, you know. But I think that's one thing in terms of myself, with my mental health and my self-care, that I have to accept. Life was hard for her. Life was hard for me. But my self-care is to try and overcome it and strengthen myself and not let that affect my children. You know?
So women at her age group and of that age group, especially black women, were put aside as if they didn't have any emotion.
Mm-hmm.
That what they felt was trivial to everything else in everybody else's life, which is the why she's that way.
Yeah.
She's never got to express what made her sad, what made her upset, what made her the way she is today, because it never was socially accepted to speak about being sad or how things made you feel or that you were unagreeable to how things were going in your life.
Yeah.
You always, as a black woman at her age, you always just had to pick up and go. Keep up.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
No, and for sure.
Push
And
through.
she did. My mom pushed through so much. And that's why I say from her, like, if I had not gotten or experienced or witnessed her strength, I would be dead right now.
Right.
You know, but it's been a catch-22 because she had that strength. Every single day, she had to go out and she made miracles happen. She had to overcome her own personal trials while raising 3 children on her own. But the downside is, you forgot when you walked through that door that I needed that softness. I needed my mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be superhero and never, even on her bad days, even on our worst days as a family, as individuals, she will always be the superhero of my story.
Right.
But in my heart needed
emotionally unavailable is what they call
yes.
it. And it was because of
It
things
does
that had happened to her
and I
before.
fully, like I said,
I feel the same way about my dad.
I love her.
Of course.
You know, if anybody ever say anything crazy about my mom, it's war on you.
Right.
You know. But for me, my truth is that there's a void in my heart that she holds the key to. But now it's that so much has happened, and we both hold so many emotions. It's not just one-sided. I have not been a great daughter. I used to sneak out the house. I was giving her gray hairs, and I know I was a tyrant. But those are my nonverbal cues. Like, I need you to, discipline me, but I need you to sit down with me, and I need you to help me sort out these voices in my head. And that's what I didn't have. So, like with you, Alicia, like in your terms of like your relationship with your mom.
Don't touch that.
I'm like this. It's okay. He's like, no.
He's like my stool.
Right.
He was about to
He
get it.
was about to get it.
Now he want to dance on the camera.
So, in your terms, like growing up, if you want to speak on it, like how do you feel that affects you mentally as a mom, or even just as Alicia? No.
Violent.
Lord.
You're gonna thought it would be crossed.
We're gonna be like,
I'm so sorry.
Girl, don't apologize.
Girl.
We got
I'm
kids.
telling melanated mom.
Melanated mommy
They
podcast.
Well, my relationship with my mother, I mean, I wouldn't say it's horrible,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of work to do.
Oh, for sure.
I think because of growing up and the stuff that I endured with not just my mother, but also my father, it has changed me to be the person that I am today.
Yeah.
So I appreciate both of my parents. I love my parents dearly. If anything was to happen to me, yes, it would affect me.
100%.
So not only would it affect me, but I have 2 siblings as well that it would also affect me. I've been so much of the stronger one in my family. I'm the one that holds everything together. I'm the one that has to be strong for everybody. So to the point where I have no weak or emotions towards a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I might, even though we're having conversations, you might not see me make no facial expressions. You might not see me get very involved. But it's not that I don't breathe or
Right.
anything to that nature. It's just I'm very emotionless. Like,
Yeah. That's how.
when you've been through so much,
Yes.
it's like it's
You
kinda
build
hard.
this
It's
girl,
like,
yes.
it's like you're a strong
Yes.
person and everything else is just like weak.
Yeah.
And you can't show no signs of
Literally.
weakness.
When I cry, I literally feel defeated. I'm like, you
Yes.
are now, you are allowing yourself to be weak.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, and I hate that. I hate that feeling. Yeah, it just makes me feel weak whenever I cry. So I don't know, like, you know, but I was waiting on you to talk.
I mean, like, no, you was going there, so I just
Yeah, period.
No, because I was
So,
I was
no.
thinking about the cut. Okay,
I got you. No,
Pause
so it's cool. You good. So basically, I mean, I get what you're saying, vulnerable. Like I said, it made me harder with
Yeah.
the relationship I had with my mother. Like, I know that everybody's situation is different. So of course, because everybody's situation is different, everybody probably raised different, everybody had all this. I had my mother. I ain't gonna lie, my mother was my rock. She was at every basketball, softball game, everything. But it's just like as we got older, the relationship, the bond has broken. And then also I had my mother living with me, and that also made things 10 times worse.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, do I love my mom? Absolutely. Do we have a lot of stuff to work on? Yes, absolutely. My biggest thing is what I hear from her, and it really kind of traumatizes me, is when you have your own son, you'll see. Like, why would you want me to see what bad stuff you had growing up? Why do you want me to see that?
Yeah.
So, of course, now I'm like on my A game, trying to make sure my son is taken care of regardless. So, it ain't no, you'll see. Like, no, because now it's not no you'll see. It's going to see, you'll see your grandson becoming the man that he needs to be. More than his father, more than everybody else, more than my dad was. Like, you going to see that, because that's what I'm going to instill in my son. I'm not going to instill in my son what me and you have as problems growing up.
Exactly. Exactly. Man, that is so crazy. Guys, we're going to do a part 2 of this.
Exactly.
We're going to do a part 2.
Yeah.
So definitely, guys. Go ahead.
To you. Sure. Do you, when she say you will see, did you always feel like she was saying it maliciously?
Maliciously, most definitely. Like, a lot of the stuff that me and my mom, like, we'll say a lot of loving and stuff, like, situations, but she tries to compare me to her so much.
Okay.
So it's
I'm
like it's more of a comparison of what she wants. She wants me to be like her, or it wants to be like a rival, more of a competition type shit. And I don't like that, because it's like, you're my mother. You're supposed to be the one that I look up to and I go to. I shouldn't have to sit here and like be fighting and beefing with you and losing my peace because of a situation that you asked me, you bring to my attention. Like the whole growing up about self-care and stuff like that, it's like being mother and friends and stuff like that, friends with your mother. You want that, but you can't handle that.
I will say, what I hear from you is that when you were a child, she loved you unconditionally. Yeah. But as you became a woman, she saw you as competition.
Yeah. Yes, because
and that's not how it's supposed to be.
It's not. And that's why, okay, to piggyback off of that, so that's why I asked you that question. Because it could be off of, you will see why I make the decisions I make.
Yes, it could be two different.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just seeing it from a different,
perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, I don't know, like,
I hate that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, because like I said, me and my mom, we do talk every day. But, some of those days we come into an argument. Yeah. And it's just like, damn, like, it goes to me and my mom used to talk every day all the time. Like, if you see my mom, you see me. Like, people at school, like, a lot of y'all probably gonna see this. But if y'all see me, y'all see my mother. Like, that's how it was. We were always together. Everything was that. But it's like, when you get to a point of being grown and older, you start looking at a lot of things differently. Sure. So a lot of stuff that you told me, you taught me, I'm seeing it and taking that consideration, but now I'm trying to teach you as well, because I see what's going on. Yeah. I can peep game just like you peep game now. So it's like, all right, I get what you
parents do. But I think, and I think I'm gonna close it with this. The thing about learning from your children, I think for the older generation, that was what I'm learning from you for. You're the child, Mm-hmm. But nowadays, especially within our circle, our group, the four of us, I think that we're so open to what our children can teach us. Mm-hmm. Like I said, and Fadika said it too, I religiously practice apologizing to my children. Yeah. I can't remember when my mom ever apologized to me. And there were situations where I felt like I deserved it. Yeah. Or let me take that back.
That's actually sincere and not just...
Let me take that back. There was one time, and it just recollect, when we still lived on the south side, it was a situation, I got in trouble for it. She apologized for the way she handled it, and then later on it came out that I was not the one that was in fault for this. So I will say that. But there were other times where I'm like...
Right.
Or I felt like I was treated almost, I wouldn't say inhumane, but there was no love within the discipline. And although I have steered away from my childhood religion, I strongly use a lot of that in my parenting. And you have to discipline and love, Like, I definitely needed those whoopings that she gave me. I got to lie. I definitely
still.
But it's still
teacher. Being a teacher, like, You have to literally sit down and kneel down and tell them why you're disrespecting
Literally,
them for
yes.
life.
And that's the Bible literally says, like, become like get down with your child. Like you gotta live on our level. Yes.
And show them, tell them why you're disciplining.
And I had to really start adapting that because I used to just like always stand over, and I started realizing that whenever I stood up at my natural height with my child, it grows that intimidation.
Yes, because they're looking
up at you. Yeah, and they're scared, and so I had to start being like, okay, I'm gonna sit down. Exactly.
No, I can get on your level and let you know what you need to know.
Exactly. Oh my God. Yes, guys. So as mentioned, we are going to do a part 2. As you can see, like, we all literally have different experiences. A lot of it mixes and mingles, which is why we hope that our 4 stories, our experiences will definitely be some benefit to you guys. Always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If, like we said last week, there's something that you would like to share, we love if you want to send a story or if you want to do a virtual join-in. We're for that. But next week, we'll continue on into our women's history in ways that we can strengthen one another in our own circles, out in the streets. So thank you to our virtual village for Good vibes only. Melanated Mommies, we're out.